Hello? Hello, 1, 2, 3. Hello, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, testing. They knock you out. So, I know those are good. Hong Kong Japan in Taipei, but I pray that this song does Taipei Luja too, because well, first off, I want to thank the governing board, the board of elders. Thế cũng sao wa sư phụ le pe tu blow tu chao for giving me this platform. Cause she heard no, the more what you tell you, because the truth is that I'm not worthy. And the reason is because I'm a born Christian in a Christian family for 38 years. That's how old I am. And First Hmong Alliance Church, you are 33 years old. And I'm certainly not qualified because, I'm certainly not qualified for this. But I just want to thank you guys and Jane to have grace on me and Moko Monglu to allow me to truly be in this to give what you tell. On day good how what you la pay sure the showing you a good what you tell or what you more put pay. If you can stand, your nation it's okay. It says in Hebrews 10:26-27 NASB version, for if we go on sinning willfully after receiving the knowledge of the truth, there no longer remains a sacrifice for sins, but a terrifying expectation of judgment and the fury of fire which will consume the adversaries. Hemblai chung go ningo dom do ningo ya ni halino. Bây giờ我tư包真了，bây giờ我tư包真了，要bây chỉ超子我丑罗应chỉ莫一样，đã chỉ thanh đầu bây lu超li，bây giờ莫给测给拆到的努我把住。周子跳摸有罗德我孤行，叫了楼有宁我对家把主事。Let's pray. Lord, I come to you with a convicted heart today. I pray for your Holy Spirit. Good talk of Anjupli, Nyahoku. I pray for your wisdom now, because this is a very heavy message for me. This that is your will, why I'm here today. First Hmong Alliance Church, in the United States. Soften their heart, Lord. Có dùng món đồ bê hôn hỏi của có cho vật chứ có gì nhau tôi chơi sinh vì thế có cho các tin linh tú là tôi thì bê lút so vì có mong lú của có món đồ bê thì của có cho amen biết share được cho tôi. So I did a quick personal evaluation của evaluation when I first came to First Hmong Alliance Church, when I joined you guys. And not to boast about it, but to see, what God has been doing in my life for the First Hmong Alliance. Okay. And I've been here for almost about 5 years, from August 17 to June 22, present day today. And in 2017, I came. In 2018, I became a part of the Men's Alliance advisory team, right? through Katilo Nambi at that time. He was the third CJ. Through his encouragement, leading cho bé cho CJ and Hong Peng sing special songs, right? And in 2019, I remember you guys elected me as assistant treasurer, which was counting money, right? But not just through that, we both the requirement for assistant treasurer or secretary position to join the elders when they go and visit families. But for some reason, I did that. So I did that. I went in with the elders to go and pray 2 to 3 times with the family. And then, not only that, I still remember the picnic we had in Gastonia. Did the tug of war, right? I think that was in 2019. But that's what we were doing. In 2020 to 2022, Molu, he gave me the leadership role in elders. And through those first 2 years, I swear, I don't know how I helped the church. That's the truth. The first option go wala wa chu holu or toyo yin chi bo hatia ba chu shi ku wali jali. This one thing I am for sure that through big leaders ku yin jia ku yin bo le wa holu ya khatu ku ba to le yin nong ga ku wa. And some of the things that they told me to do is during funerals. I have no sense of direction in funerals, but through their humbleness, I was able to learn some of the things. And then not only that, that also helped me grow as well. In 2021, Sifu Chak Gong, then you both have been through Sifu Chak Gong, you're into a very busy person. And a lot of times, or myself, I think to myself, like, what is he doing? What makes him so busy, right? Well, one of the things that that nu shi blow nu or nu shi ho he taught me to teach and preach within those 4 days. He took his time out of his family life to come and teach and preach and show me, because what I see is, what I do, and I thank God that He gave me that time. And so, further on, I continue to grow with my brothers in worship. With Sifu Tulia this year, bit more worship through his encouragement, through Katil Natong, his spring cleaning, willing to partner up with me, through seeing that Elder Tilo Zebal is just like, man, yeah, I'll be in charge of this event, and it just encouraged me to be in charge of, Mother's Day's event. And then, when I calculate the times in the governing board meetings from 2020 to we meet once a month, okay? So for those 3 years, not counting 2020, 2018 or 2019, we meet 3 years. In those 3 years, we meet 36 days. And then within those 32 days, we meet about average, okay? I'm just being modest here, but in a Baylor how we can encourage Benjing. which calculates up to some or I have been a part of. And so all this, right? Why you ask me, why am I telling you about this? And how does it relate to the truth is that trận đấu thiết chơi là do cụ hai tia và nó chỉ một nung gầy do cụ chiến tranh tia tia hậu cụ Lucia và nó chỉ một nung gầy do this 3 years that I went through with you guys. If I have not grown and chỉ một nung gầy đâu cụ do cụ Lucia chỉ bùa ba chỉ cho lục tia tia. What I'm saying is that, what if I said that none of this matters? None of this works matter if I am a false or fake believer. And so that leaves me with today's message that I want you guys to see. That como post up here. If we could pull it up. A fake or false believer who is fully aware of Jesus Christ falls from the doorsteps or the gates of heaven. Cho nên hôm nào cũng lo vào lực cú tỷ lý nó. Cho nên làn danh or từ Chúa làn danh thia bảo Giêsu lời Chúa trâu chỉ thia ma lời đó lúa tờ or cứu hành. And the reason why cũng một tỷ lý đó is because you see that in the text called vào lực cú a cú hai. But I want us to keep in mind that do vì lý cha của thế hai lý nó, ổn đây bé mù sai, phô vào lực cú hiệp lại, bé vô chịu tao và chịu từ giản chữ, từ chữ bự, từ châu bự liệu gầu sư phụ cha cũng phê hài rồi. Nếu từ giản chữ, what is he like? Why are we talking about such a judgment? You know, and do bé mù sai hậu. Hậu vào lực cú nó. In Yoha or John 3:36, now keep in mind what you do attitude towards whoever believes in the Son has eternal life. Right? We see called love, called grace. And then, whoever does not obey the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of God remains on him. That also shows the grace as well, because he's warning us, right? Yoha chung pe cho trâu nè te tu on jing lấy tu yo tao cho xia để thở mũi chỉ. Còn mà pe bỏ te okay, that's a positive. Còn nó giống. And then te si tu o chim long lấy tu tây lu yo chỉ tao cho xia phát chỉ yo trâu chỉ trâu tung tử. That part my nhưng yo phát chỉ còn mong lu te si we tend to ignore that. We tend to ignore that. So I just want us to see that when he talks about wrath, hate, but I hate sinners, right? Right? He has said that. And so it brings me to today's lesson. And one thing I want us to pay attention today is two things out of the point that I'm coming out today. The first point is that there is believers who intentionally sin. Right? And they know two things. And the two things they know is that Bị chạy lợi dụng bảo hạt để Giêsu do từ sinh. They know that Jesus Christ is the Savior, right? And I want us to see that in Hebrews. But for us to recognize this, the first thing we need to look at is, and it says that in Hebrews, right? For if we go on sinning willfully, right, which is after receiving the knowledge of the truth, which is Jesus Christ, there no longer remains a sacrifice for sins. Verse 9 Vậy ít khỏi của sa có pay attention to nhưng do khó vì na yo tuổi show hiệp lại và lực cú nữ include nữ tu king at the pay chọn jing, so we as a whole, and we meaning like I will elaborate that on later, but another thing that we need to focus on this Bible verse is this willfully, right? Do thầu cú thầu bấy nhỉ và chỉ cho lù li nó là do bấy chỉ sai khỏi text bấy chỉ bảo hay thì luôn chế lừa từ ở từ nó được show do vì cha được chế li hai li nó do bấy giờ tuần chính á bấy sai thì bấy nhỉ thì dùng luôn có bấy từ trâu gì thì there's no point for us to or và chỉ holy, right? But is that what he's saying? Bây giờ và lực cú hai li tử, and the thing is, I don't believe so, but let's see why, you know. And one thing we have to pay attention to is, right? Because I taught that about maybe 2 years ago. Maybe we could have forgot. But the sin is death. And so the willfully and deliberately, what does that mean? But is that true? Deliberately, if we look at it, it originates from Latin, meaning deliberatus, meaning intentionally, meaning carefully, meaning you purposely do it, right? What I put deliberately there is because the willfully is the NASB version, but the ESV version is the deliberately. The willfully as well, it says, everyone either has an everlasting yes or no, meaning they determine it, like it's a forethought. You purposely doing it. It's an attitude, like a premeditation. Like, for example, you guys heard about that killing in Texas, right? If you guys have not. In the news in Texas, when we found out that I believe he's like 19 or so, he went to the school and he did the unthinkable. He went and murdered all those kids and teachers. Deliberately means you're willing to do it because you already thought about it. You're premeditation. A lot of the times we're like, no, that's not true. I didn't know I did that. But the truth is that we can't lie about it because we deliberately sin, right? So now I want you to see that this sin is not in the book of Hebrews, okay? In this verse, I want you to see that this verse is not talking about that deliberately, willingly sinning, okay? It's not talking about that. The reason why the author is purposely not saying that because you see that in Isaiah, okay? It says, Isaiah 53:5, the verse says, but he was pierced for our transgression. Transgression is another word for our sins, right? He was crushed for our iniquities, right? It's the action of our sin. The punishment that brought us peace was on him, and by his wounds we are healed. It kind of echoes John 3:16, right? For God so loved the world, he gave us his only son. Whoever believes in him should not perish but have eternal life. What is he talking about? The sin, the transgression. So what does that mean? The transgression,被嘅你係啲學幾臭，我有一學幾臭，我把住牙刀 right? And I want us to see that whole Hebrews, the author is not trying to say that to them. And the reason why, right? The reason why I want us to see this is because in the book of Hebrews, they were on the edge of because tôi show trang the Hebrew hai tô chọn jing thong shi hờn đỡ hai tô là hai tia he's preaching from chapter 1 to chapter 9. He's telling them that this is why you shouldn't do this. This is why you shouldn't draw back. I felt like I was in a courtroom. He brings back the Old Testament. He brings back and relate it to the New Testament. And so they were getting persecuted. After he's referring to that. The reason why you know that is because during that time, the Hebrews, they were being persecuted. Kind of like our Hmong culture, right? So this is during here, their land. Okay, they were getting their land taken away. And not only that, they were still sinning. They were still causing adultery. Okay, there is still a sexual immorality. And so, to show Hebrews now, he's like, hey, you guys shouldn't be doing that. And so that's why to show Chanda no this is you need to stop what you're doing because go imagine somebody, right? To you to they chờ me got they chờ from they can blow. Cho a don't decide to come. Or the ones that fought for United States, right? What happened to them? A lot of them got persecuted. Through my research, to grade middle school. Okay, this is through her research, how much persecution they had trying to come to the United States. In the same way, the Hebrews were being persecuted as well. Your lands, all your chicken, your farms, everything was gone. And so, not only that, you were getting everything taken care of. So what are you gonna do? Go join your communism. Like, dude, so what do? We turn back. But in this case, Hebrews, they were at the verge of turning away. And this verse here, I want you guys to see, right, that called transgression, okay? A sin that God can't forgive, but called Hebrews, no, it's something that he can't forgive. And you will see this, okay? When he talks about the willful sinning, right, that we do, so that I want us to be clear, because oh shoot, we always be sinning, so I'm dead. But that's not the truth. Right? And after that, right? There's no other remains of sacrifice. The sacrifice is significant. We need to pay attention to your sacrifice. Your sacrifice, right? New refer to Hebrew 7:7, right? He talks about the Levitical high priest sin, requiring offer sacrifice for himself. Or Moses cho lực cho cái trai cũ lo to deeply or not deeply, but the prophet had to wash away their sins. So we understand that during that time, in Mosaic time, the calves and goats, right? And how do they do that? They take the animal to the outside of the village, okay? And then they slaughter the animal, and then they bring the blood back into the altar, right? And so through that, Moses more John Chandler, right? He threw the blood on the people and the covenant to show that, you know what, you know, 周志個錯麼嚟多，vì係啲คนชา呢端左嚟學幾臭嚟。But the thing about the Mosaic law in Abraham is that คนชา呢你只莫學得好那樣，你只莫學得好，因為就係你只莫學得好，你應同到嘛應要 I'm not canceling out that it didn't work. What I'm saying is it did work. Did she have there? It did work. But you need to pay attention to Yesu. Because Yesu yin ya chain, right? And so if you look at during that time, the author was telling the Hebrews, who's the Jews during that time, hey, why are you guys going back to do what Mosaic law? Or during that time, there were still people that are doing that, right? The Judaism, sorry. And so, because of persecution, right? Like, call a like, oh, go arrest, or go I can't handle it. How do I get that back? Just surrender to the enemies and say, you know what? I'll just stay here and obey what you want to do. But the author wasn't telling them to do that. And so what he was telling them is that con đi từ bỏ tiêu ba chữ Giêsu từ tên linh tu, ý là tuổi chúa có cho cái sầu lời. And your village, why is that more significant than what Moses and Abraham tried to do that sacrifice, right? The reason why is because Yesu right? We know that God is the form of human. And when you read the first four gospels, right? Right? So when he sacrificed himself, like your priest or even Moses knew to king, vì hạt Moses knew chin, or cái chầu knew to king na, your con nhìn học Leviticus, knew hạt even as the priest, every year, okay, this is what they did. He still had to slaughter an animal and get that blood to sacrifice his sins as well. But in God, in Jesus didn't have to do that because his blood was all pure. So we have to truly understand the sacrifice in this verse 26, right? Sorry, my. So we know that Beijing Paulo, your people there, Beijing Paulo Yesu, you to change the you to a what should we expect, right? That's if có yo to know, right? But the truth is that how do we know that we're that person? The thing is that I have to reiterate on the we, right? Nó khó to author new include new to king ho panjing na if thoka shy even from the beginning during Abraha there Moses lời cho cái trái lời cho panjing you didn't both there even during Jesus' time you didn't both there to you theo ba chỉ cho mà dùng nhưng chỉ mua chọn jing sự tức là nhưng mua cho chính jing right but valuku cái thổ yu nhẹ cái yu sa tiêu what is he talking about just chọn jing cái chính jing well in this verse in this he's trying to say that there's a we within a we what does that mean what the we do we what it means is that during the Jews there were Jewish and there's non-Jewish believers within the community right within the synagogue and the church in America even in the churches or in America there's Americans right within the American if there, in the Hmong culture or in the Hmong people there's a Hmong within a Hmong you more chọn jing hay chỉ jing right within the first Hmong Alliance church they me more chọn jing hay chỉ jing in the Eulusia right and that's why it refers that's why I have to say that that's why Gutia show John the Hono or write down why because he's actually talked to Paper and Jane because you're fake or false believer who is fully aware of Jesus Christ ying bong from the doorsteps of heaven and I want us to see that I'm not saying that you are that but I just want us to see that so what if that's the case then what does that mean for us right what this means is that what should we look forward to this is what we should look forward to right here it says we should look forward to God's judgment that will devour his enemies and you see that right here in Hebrews 10:27 but a terrifying NIV version fearful expectation of judgment and the raging fury of fire which will consume the adversary right so if I'm not talking about falling away right because thầu sĩ hơn nữa mà nó yếu chỉ to thì chọn jing nữa của thứ hai là tức là của các hành gì chọn jing nữa lớn jing cho or like lời trâu chỉ nè lời chỉ xã or và chữ hậu lý theo lời chỉ xã jing và chữ mà right they're making that decision and that is what you call apostasy it is to fall away from the truth I believe that the author of Hebrews is talking about apostasy. Itun jing or ying bao ka jing ying or va ju hou lu ying mo ka miracles ka ying bo cho chia ya ka zu ji le or va ju or do ben jing lo do you. This she za do ge de jo you your cousin your brothers or chi do lo bao va ju or you know de ya or you chi you choose to fall away. So for 10 years from now, from 10 years from now, it's like saying, oh, you know what, I chose not to, I don't want to be a part of that group anymore. What you're saying to Jesus is that I don't care about your bloodshed. I don't care about your sacrifice. I don't care about Jesus Christ. Right? Oh, God, or Jesus. You're not accepting Jesus Christ. You're falling away, right? So they were in the break. They really didn't want to. They really wanted to break away. Just think of a time when you are doing something and you love it, like a job, but even worse, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait until I get out of here or find a new job. Because this job sucks. I think that's something, but even worse, this is a no return. And so this is what I think he's talking about. I believe he's talking about apostasy. Apostasy comes from the Greek, right? The Greek, Greek, it's because the book of Greek, the Bible, the Greek book, is what they use to translate English. And so that's why they always refer to Lalu Greek. And what it means is this apostasy, meaning abandonment, renunciation of a religion, defection, departure, revolt, rebel, especially willful falling away. So there are apostate in someone who has once believed and then rejects the truth of God. You're like, hey, because in Matthew's, it says this. So apostate is what I said earlier. But in in Matthew, which is not up here, chapter 11, verse 20-24, it says, then he began to denounce the cities where most of his mighty works had been, because they did not repent. Woe to you, Chorazin! Woe to you, Bethsaida! For if the mighty works done in you had been done in Tyre and Sidon, they would have repented long ago in the sackcloth and ashes. But I tell you, it will be more bearable on the day of judgment for Tyre and Sidon than you. And Capernaum, will you be exalted to heaven? ? You will be brought down to Hades. For if the mighty works done in you had been done in Sodom, and it would have remained until this day. But I tell you that it will be more tolerable on the day of judgment for the land of Sodom than for you. That is why a transgression right? It's because you're rejecting Jesus Christ. In other words, right? Right? If you're planning to go there, right? In other words, if you're going down to hell, go to hell from Sodom. They're not comparing them. Because in Sodom, they didn't get the miracles. They didn't see the miracles that they saw in Capernaum. The spirit of gifts during that time, because during that time, after so it's AD, after Christ, right? Within the first 100 years, right? Scholars, that's their estimate. So they're not sure, but we do know that it's during that time. And so, take care, brothers and sisters, that there will be in any one of you an evil, unbelieving heart that falls away from the living God. Hebrews 3:12. Hebrew implies to iterate, to echo, to highlight. On day what you on in chapter 10, right? So it brings me back to this, right? A fake believer, Johnning or Lanjing, Tia Bo Yesu Lo, your Totsi, Tia Malo, Doloto, or Kuheng. Being one question we might ask ourselves, right, is 我被只要真正的呢，我被只要读能的呢，right? Which is great, which is true. If 個應要讀嘅經，要個應要讀嘅經乜住，then you have nothing to worry about, right? But see, brothers, we don't know Lucia. We don't know the heart. So sư phụ thấy sự nào hết biết cho lâu cho bị bận jing đồng bộ lý cho là bị chỉ bận nên Lucia. And so many times to bị nó là thấy sự nào, and it sounds the same. It sounds the same. It's because bị chỉ bận nên Lucia tiền là nên gọi tụi mình nhỏ rồi. Thầu là qua thầu, you chỉ là chỉ bảo là Lucia này rồi. And là chỉ chỉ tàu này like a baby, right? And so for me, it's like that for myself as well. And so the truth is that I want you guys to see that. And Belushia Jolin go a heart attack. We never know when we're going to have a heart attack. Giờ có your nông của hai tiệt hey, cái chỗ tôi có hai nhà môn đời cho lên đời có sự theo của sẽ uốn trên là chính chính. The truth is that của theo tàu có because của chữ bảo có Lucia theo you của là của những chữ bảo theo tổ tư của cho sự yếu tu. Because in a heart, okay, in a heart attack, right? Because what do? You eat right? It's kind of, I know I'm not the skinniest person, so this is probably a bad analogy, right? Của những chỉ tôi yêu cha đó là cái sai hậu you lúc lỡ mà giờ, cái sai còn lúc lỡ hậu thì chơi, you know mỏ rong, nó rong, chứ chỉ hay nó rong, còn you healthy na giờ. For picture English, a heart, right? If you don't want the arteries inside your heart, right? Or you don't want the, the plaque inside your heart, what do? You eat what's right? And so that you don't have the heart of apostasy or apostate. Because the thing is that, the light in the dark, okay? Có a light here, có a dầu, bế chỉ bầu, hay thì cú lú xía, yếu dầu, đầu do là cú lú, or lúc blur, is it blur? Sorry. Lúc blur is more clear. Nếu như bảo hay thì bây giờ lo tại sao bây chỉ kinh thai lù mong. So if the English speakers will help me with that, and go to your neighbor and explain to them, that would help me help you. Okay, but I just want to clear that out. So I'm going to explain in English. So the heart is very important because we don't see the heart. And it's like a heart attack. We don't know when I'm going to have my heart attack. We don't know when you're going to have your heart attack. But the truth is that when I do have my heart attack, I hope that it's pure on the light side and not the dark. Because if you continue to then you just turn to the dark. And so at first, you're like, it's okay. Beijing làm chuyện phát là Beijing chỉnh or to certain mong we can still do this, we can still do that, and for Beijing law, we're chasing our careers right now, right? We're looking for money. We continue to sin in our adult personal life, right? I mean, I'm talking about like pornography here. I'm talking about sins that only God can see, not the physical side. So I don't know that. That's what you're struggling with. But what I'm telling you is if you're struggling with that, please don't let this be you, if this isn't you yet. Because one thing that Hebrews were dealing with is adultery, okay? So that's why I'm going to say adultery. And they're dealing with money. And they're chasing money in adultery. Sex before marriage is forbidden in Vachitsalu. And that's what the Hebrews were doing as well. Not only were they falling away, but and so, but okay, now I get it. For Peter Low, right? Okay, call cái thầu nó chỉ cho bé because bé ô cái thầu chơi, God forgive us. But ít khỏi bắt ta của nông cái chế lo nòng bi that I learned, okay, just now. Của nông này thì bao cô giống chúa giờ đã chỉ là dọc. I was like, I don't know, của nó bây giờ nè hết gì hay bao cô giống chúa sẽ của chú bảo giờ đã chỉ. Nếu hay cho khó giống chúa ởอยู่ hậu ấy ý này dọc. Chế doอยู่chỉ nè từ chếอยู่แต่แม่ตุนแต่กูchỉ muốn có cái gì thì cũng muốn có ý đâu nương thế này dọc. And where do we see that hope? Chế mong tại sao? We see that thầu bây ở cái châu này dọc. Bây chỉ bỏ hạt điều mua cái châu, tức chỉ ba chỉ cho lưu ý hạt điều, khả năng có cái châu. And we see that a lot within thầu bây mới see you all. That's one thing I hear when I went to weddings. Bốc của giống chúa, right? Because tu nên mong nó, only nó đâu cụ chơi nữa lo yếu cụ tu chơi, cụ only nó đâu nữa thế, rồi cụ nó lại cho lâu sư phụ hài lên được thế, chỉ lên được cụ tu mù gì kia hết, cụ tự trả lời yo sầu nhân to lo hello, à say man, tu chỉ nhau yo tu yo ít tung jeng na, giờ yo pinch only được, lu xia or desire of the flesh. You chỉ cho linh cầu ý từ ninh, or bảo vật chữ, or Lucia, or bảo vật chữ, tức là you cho linh cầu, địa tế cho linh cầu ý từ or chỉ bảo vật chữ. Bây giờ chủ chính pha, because the more that nay xã ô linh tới chỉ you Lucia, bị tới you chỉ nụ chỉ, chỉ có to, bây giờ vật chữ đông bảo lý trả thia linh cầu bắt ta cụ hay, from 2000 to 2023. And all that accomplishment means nothing. Right? So, but I do leave you with this. This should hold him blind after 10, 26, 27. But we do not belong to those who shrink back and are destroyed, but to those who have faith and are saved. Shrink back. Bây giờ chọn jing or chỉ shrink back, right? We don't pull back because we're confident. We're not overconfident, but we're confident that Jesus Christ died for us. We have to be bold, right? In Hebrews, he used the word bold, right? Có yêu chủ. A lot of times, bây giờ mong bây giờ mua tụ chư bự, okay? It's not in for some reason it's just in me too. Bây giờ mua tụ chư bự hay tiệt thầu. Bây giờ mua tụ chư bự are like being too modest, right? And then when we are too modest, we kind of use that with Christ as well. And chúng có bây giờ more confidence lên na. Chúng có bây giờ bảo hạt cái Giêsu yo tôi thấy bây lúc sau lên na. Because being chai cha, what are we scared of? Because during Hebrews, Hebrews they were also being persecuted by Ning Hai Lỡ, Thua Lỡ na yo. Bei First Small Alliance, shop bei bộ cho khó khăn na or bei ma cơ here, bei ma or where our lands are taken away. In this verse, upon the Hebrews, cho Ning yo Hebrew, that's what they're going through. But what we are going through that I saw in here is that they were getting persecuted by Ning Hai Le Luk Te and then Le Jili Jin Jeng Le. And a lot of times I feel convicted because, dude, I haven't even shed a blood. I haven't even been locked up. But when someone talks bad about my God and I don't defend him with boldness and confidence, not cockiness, right? This is why this is very important. Hàm lại cầu, bây giờ chua nè tiệt, bây chỉ do cho và ti cho cá nè, bây chỉ do cho nên họ ti cho cá nè, nên do bây tôi mình cả tới chơi, tới từ xã ti cho cá mù đâu tới chấm lò, nó tới chấm lò. I don't think any of us is, because we see the glory in America. In the same way, we need to see bây giờ chịu bỏ tới Giêsu, khỏi nữ chọn trả nữ tôi thấy bây lúc cho như nhau khỏi tranh. Mù trâu kế bùa chua để xì bế yо cho ổn chênh Mu cho nu or bei di bei lu zi. Yo. So what is he saying here? Nu hai tia. Ji ha tia you lon jing va ju. E you bao va ju le. E you o ha lu. E you tia. Yo hai tung jing jing. Tia di zi. This is nu hai tia. Có là ô của hậu lử là Giêsu yên do tụi bù đâu. Vậy thầu có ô hậu lử trâu. Bần trên có hậu lử trâu vắt chữ. It has to display that free will gift. So when you're coming to church and if either you're a pastor or you're an usher or you're a media or có you to chong go. Yes, we don't get paid for this, right? But Jesus, he didn't get paid to come save us either. But if you có yo itung ching le, we need to act that way, right? And to do that, we don't need to tell anyone what we did, but we just live as an example, how Jesus Christ lived with us. I know this is a lot of verses, but it's because this platform, Lingo Pataku Hai, and today is it. So I have to give you everything. Hebrews 3:12. See to it, brothers and sisters, that none of you have a sinful, unbelieving heart that turns away from the living God. I didn't put the Hmong version, but please look into this Hebrews 3:12. But I will try to translate it as best as I can, but it's going to be probably terrible. But right? 我用假一边，那莫路些我给走，我有路只要我给走时，但是路些我竞争，给头内竞争给内我来讲 ，you turn away apostasy, right? But that be go apostasy or apostate. What does that mean? To turn away from what you reject the true Christ, away from living God. That is the apostate. So I leave you with this quote from Reverend Jason Lim. He's a senior pastor in Singapore. If your faith fizzles before you finish, it's because it was faulty from the first. If your faith fizzles before you finish, it's because it was faulty from the first. I'm not going to try to translate that. But that is what it means, and please help it, y'all. I know it's not as helpful as I wish it would be, but this is why we also want y'all to go lo aki too, right? It's both ways. They pick both chain, right? So yes, I leave you with this, and one last verse to just give it a cherry on the top. Because our church, our vision is to make disciples. Bây wo bần jing, bây hạt tia, bây giờ ít bần jing wo your create or your cha to your what is prophet again? Your thư tỷ. Right? And so I have to leave us with this verse that says, true and false disciples. Matthew 7:21-23. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. Many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and in your name drives out demons, and in your name perform many miracles? Then I will tell them plainly, I never knew you. Away from me, you evildoers. Now yo ma thai chong ya ningo I mu zon ningo bei. And so I know that I know that our paradigm is about rice paddy. But the truth is that it's just a shadow of the past, our relatives, Vachitsolu. And the reason why I say that is because when Moses sacrificed the blood to save our sins, right? It's a shadow, a metaphor, a shadow, a foresight of what Jesus is to come, right? A Yesu in your Jane. So in the future, because our time right now, we understand the rice paddy form. But if you really wanted to, we could put like a racing car or racing because, or drag race or auto body. Because within the auto body, there's parts and there's pieces. But the truth behind all this is that as long as there's the truth that Jesus Christ is our Savior. So yes, we can apply it. Instead of using rice paddy, we could apply it in a different way. But show me that that's what you want. Show me that you guys are true believers and disciples, that we're trying to learn this paradigm. And so in the future, in 10 years, you won't see the rice paddy. Well, you'll see maybe a DOS, right? The DOSC. What does that stand for? The heart of truth. Sorry. The true DOSC, which is like a Microsoft metaphor. I was trying my best, sorry, for the Microsoft people. But you know what that means. It's where the true heart is, right? And there's 3 parts to it. And that's what we're saying here. That, yeah, within First Small Alliance Church, we do have some unbelievers. And that's why we continue to preach. In Hebrews, it's the same way. They had unbelievers in their bunjing as well. But the only way to show them the true love is through our heart. And so, yes, but you holy completely, but surely at the end, I pray that our heart is right so that we are not in this apostasy state. So continue. I encourage everyone. I encourage Beipon Jane, First Small Alliance Church, that thank God for this grace. You guys have helped me, encouraged me. And I pray that this message today is not from Gu, but yin yo from ba chu, and the yin cha zu mo za lu no do bei ka bei to to hatia yo we turn this way, then there's no return. So what you cho. Okay. Let's close our eyes and pray. Dear Lord, thank you. I pray that I lift First Small Alliance Church and everyone who hears this gospel up to you, though I'm not worthy, but you see through your monglu, your grace to me, Lord. I pray that you continue to ba got your ba ya. Got your disciples out there. Do you love me? Once. Do you love me? Twice to Peter, Simon. And third time he said, do you love me? And he said, yes, I do. Well, if you love me, love my lambs. And I pray that Beipanjino has that heart to lu, to chua, to continue to shipa, or go holu, mutante, ek waka chovachu, the Jesu Amen.